Sit down, shut up, and pay attention. This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your hosts, Dominick Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
All right, happy fabulous Monday. This is the Rants of Izzo Show here on Freely Media. It's your one-stop shop for all things glorious, including free speech. And that's it. There's nothing more to say about that. I have nothing more to say other than the fact that it's just another Monday out here in Chicago. I haven't looked at the shooting weekend numbers yet, but we did have a warm weekend. So, you know, that meant that Black Lives no longer matter, and there was probably a ton of blood in the street. We'll check that out in a second. From the DUM Show, sit with me on Monday. Matt Spear, glorious day to you, sir. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. Doing well.
Okay, let's get into it because it is Monday. Oh, shit. No, let's do this really quickly. Matt, so this is the fourth day of the month of March, right? It's the fourth day.
Correct.
There's four. We're not even in the four. It's really been 3 days and a couple hours. So just so everybody knows, I talk about this. I like to sit there and kind of point out the numbers for the Chicago shootings. How important they are. There was a famous or an infamous South suburb Chicago mayor that's been in the news lately who lives like a ghetto queen, all this shit. But people have to remember that in Cook County, Illinois, which comprises of 5.8 million people, it's the second largest county in the nation, Chicago is a part of that, and it has 2.7 million people, residents. It's not including daytime work population and all that shit. And the suburbs are separate. So the numbers that I talk about from the site, Hey Jackass, are just limited to the city of Chicago. They're not limited to the suburbs at all, or they're not including the suburbs at all. So in the first 4 days of Chicago, we've had 30 people shot and 4 people have been killed.
That's racist.
Yeah. Just thought I'd let everybody know that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at. Okay, Black lives do not matter in Chicago. They just don't. It's as simple as that. Let's talk about the biggest news today. You get Matt's opinion on this one. The U.S. Supreme Court sided unanimously with former President Donald Trump in his challenge of the state of Colorado's attempt to kick him off the ballot in the 2024 primary ballot. All nine justices ruled in favor of Trump's case, which will impact the status of efforts in several other states to remove the likely GOP nominee. Like the Cook County judge did out here in Chicago, did say he was strike him off the ballot, but that looks like it's going to be overturned now. Unless, does this blanket it? Meaning now that SCOTUS said in Colorado, do you think they're going to rescind that, or are they going to make they're going to have to make him go, all right, Illinois is next up going before the Supreme Court, and the next state, and the next state, and the next state. Are they going to be that stupid and petty?
No, they can't be that stupid and petty because it's a federal court. So federal court supersedes district and any state Supreme Court. So because this decision was made against Colorado, it hit the federal level, this will apply. There's also several precedents over this. There's a case in Florida that was ex parte that essentially ensures that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When you say that, that also falls into the Bill of Rights, and it falls into due process and everything else. Now, what they did do is the Supreme Court kicked it back to the Senate in the sense that this is not the decision of the Supreme Court to decide whether this is insurrection or this falls under a law. And I think it's fantastic. And they do this more often than not. They did it with Roe v. Wade. They didn't make a judgment on it and then set legislation. They interpret the law. That's their job. So they interpret it and they say, no, this isn't viable. Therefore, this can't be applied to Donald Trump in this election. And if they didn't do that, exactly what you said would happen. So it's up to the Senate to decide if this one small piece, an old Civil War piece of legislation can apply in future to presidents. And the answer is it can, but it needs to be decided by Congress.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He has not been convicted of any crime yet, correct?
No, not even charged.
I don't understand. Now I was a cop. I don't get it. I do not get how they can sit there and remove anything he has the freedom to do based on the fact that he has not been criminally convicted on anything.
Yeah. So
why don't they just take away his right to bear arms or his right to vote then? Next?
Right. So the reason why is because in this statute, I'm not gonna read it. I got it right here. But the statute essentially was applied to Civil War military officers who they knew a few things. One is that when the 3/5 compromise was assigned, a lot of people think that has to do with racism. It actually has nothing to do. It doesn't say a person is 3/5 of an actual person because they're black. What it says is that there were 4 to 6 million African Americans of voting age at that time, or would have been in the next 20 years. And the North understood that by allowing that the South would put pressure on the African-American voters. They had them as slaves, for God's sakes, that they would push them to vote and therefore politically create war and take over the North because they had more people than the North did. And by allowing that full representation of equal representation to turn into a vote, it would just completely, the South would dominate. So by assigning 3/5 of a vote, it was only representation based upon their state legislatures, et cetera, and the people who would actually go and knock on the doors of Washington. The same rule applied when it came to these officers. They felt these insurrectionists would run for office and then alter the course of political sway with their influence. So what it said is that if you rose up against the North, and obviously the United States of America, it would be considered insurrection, and they were barred from running and holding office. The reason why this argument fails is because what you're saying is that what Donald Trump and the January Sixers, what took place, even if you assign guilt and blame, which you can't without due process, is that it was the size of the Civil War, that it was the influence of the Civil War, and that the President of the United States is under the form of Uniform Code of Military Justice, which he's not. He is not in the military. He is at the top of the chain of the military. A very big difference. So long answer yeah, sorry.
All that to be said, I'm kind of disappointed in the Supreme Court, and I really wish they would have allowed it just so you could get a real fucking insurrection. You get people like, oh, yeah, because I'm thinking about that last night. I'm making dinner. I'm going, okay, so if by some chance the Supreme Court decides that, they're going to not do the right thing or the just thing or the lawful thing, and they're going to sit there and allow this, I'm itching. I'm so tired of the Band-Aid not being ripped off. I'm tired of the anticipation and the daily, this lidocaine drip of shit coming. We need the floodgates crashing, and that's where I'm at. But yeah, he's gonna be allowed in the ballot, and that's gonna overturn everybody else. The Cook County judge out here in Illinois decided she wanted to knock him off the ballot, and I think a few other states as well too.
You're probably gonna get what you want, though, Dom. You're gonna get what you want. I mean, if he wins,
dude, I hope
if he wins, it's gonna be a nightmare.
Well, you're seeing, and I didn't pull these up yet, and it's kind of a parallel. This is how I know that I will not get what I want. Is in order to get what I want, you need to have the same thing happen again, which is Biden has to win again. Biden's not going to run. And I didn't see I saw the article in passing because I'm not ruining my weekend watching this shit. But apparently both Joe Biden's brother and Hunter Biden admitted to the fact that he was the big guy and a certain amount of money he took from China, which we know no one cares about. Nothing will be done about it except for it finally lays the foundation of going, hey, Joe, we're going to have you step aside and we'll replace you with Newsom. If it is, I have some bad news for people. If it is Newsom versus Trump, Newsom will win. He will. No. He will out-debate. Oh, 100% he will. He will out-debate. Newsom is charismatic snake oil salesman that will be the fresh, young, he's running his state into the ground, and he still gets voted back in. But my point is he'll be the new fresh angle, and you will have the moronic leftists say, well, here's the new younger, guy who really knows what he's doing, and he's running California great. And so nobody will wind up raising up proverbial arms against the new regime. If it was the Biden regime, yeah, you might get people doing it, but it's not going to be Biden.
Can I chime in? Even though I took a hell of a long time on the Constitution, Newsom is being saved as much as Youngkin, or what they thought DeSantis was going to be saved as. See, the race in 2028 is almost like, this one's extremely important because this decides where the country goes and how bad it's going to get. 2028 is going to be like, this is the last stand, the last hurrah. Either this country is going to continue geopolitically to go down the tubes. We're not going to have kids. Prices are going to go up. The dollar is going to be devalued. OPEC is going to lose its value. And then the Korea, China, Russia, South Africa dollar connection will ultimately take over. This is the giant, fear of what's going on in a quick 1 minute, summation. But this whole thing is Youngkin from Virginia has a lot of push. In fact, they wanted him to be the Haley. They wanted him to come in here and be the kind of like the no-face candidate, the person who is young and sit behind the scenes. Well, he screwed up in the actual primary, and we got hammered by his Republicans in Virginia. So he kind of went backwards. Newsom's kind of feeling the same exact thing. His push to take guns, some of his Beto O'Rourke type mentality has left him as a negative taste in a lot of people's mouths. So I think what they do is they hold Newsom's going to run in 2028. It makes sense. You got Youngkin in 2028. That would make a smart Nikki Haley VP ticket because of her popularity with independents. That's the fight. Michelle Obama's not. Joe Biden's going to be it. I'm telling you, he's going to the finish line.
He's so bad.
They're gonna push him over the finish line.
Win.
No, I don't know about that.
I don't care who says what. Trump is not going to win. They're not going to let him. Something's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I have no. Or it's if I'm the Machiavellian enemy that the left is, and in some certain stances, idiot fucking conservatives are. I'm going to let Trump run, win, and then every bad thing that I've been storing up for the last 2 years, I'm going to allow to happen under Trump's regime, and then blame it all on him as well. So that could be the other side of it too, where they're like, no, Trump is going to be the fall guy for this because they can be doing that.
Well, that was 2016, 2018, when the entire Republican House and Congress sat on their hands. House and Senate, and did nothing. And Mitch McConnell, they torpedoed everything he tried to push through.
Oh, have you seen him? Have you seen him lately?
Well, the turtle? Yeah. There's not much change. I mean, when you're 800 years old, I mean.
And he's resigning in November.
Yeah, he's still going to sit there. I mean, of course, he's not going to usurp his power completely.
I don't see any difference, to be honest, in having a job with a badge and a gun and making decisions that affect someone's freedom or life versus somebody who is in Congress, Senate, House, the presidency at all, right? You're making some very serious decisions. To allow like a Dianne Feinstein, well, what do I do? What do I say? It is insane. Even Mitch McConnell now is insane. I don't get this at all. You might as well be allowing him to pilot a plane, and then all of us go down and crash and die. We deserve this. That's my body.
How do you have a Chinese spy chauffeuring for a U.S. senator who's on the Intelligence Oversight Committee for 27 years, and there's no investigation, right?
Wait, there's a new one, or are you talking about Fang Fang?
No. Wait, I'm talking about Feinstein. Feinstein's chauffeur was found to be a Chinese spy, and he chauffeured for her for 27 years. No investigation, and she's on the Senate Oversight Committee. Fang Is Smallwell. That guy just looks like he smells, right? I mean, you're just like, dude, you smell like patchouli and something else. But that guy,
I hate patchouli.
He dip Fang, and that's the problem. When you sleep with a Chinese spy, you want to do it again an hour later.
Well played.
Thank you.
Not bad. I've never been with the Asian. It's not my fetish is like the Venus and Serena Williams sisters. That would be that.
Yeah, you've said
Daddy
that.
likes chocolate.
Yeah.
I'm Italian. I like chocolate. Yeah, that's that. The court considered for the first time the meaning and the reach of Article 3 and for the 14th Amendment, which bars the former office holders who engage in insurrection from holding public office again, which again, to my knowledge, there has not been one U.S. citizen charged with insurrection. Not one. So how did we have an insurrection?
Oh, in January 6th? Yeah, because I thought you meant in U.S. history, because I'm like, that's not true. But yes, in January 6th, not one of them. Seditious conspiracy, aggravated assault and battery. I mean, you know the list. No, not one with insurrection.
Yeah, but a cop can go around and kill an unarmed woman, and he's still, he's a murdering cop, but he's still employed too. It's all fucked up.
Right. Hey, man, listen, it's so much easier when you just realize that there's like the elite class And then there's like the Morlocks, you know. I mean, this has all been discussed about. But we're the sewer rats, man. We have no pull whatsoever.
I've been fine with that since day one because it's like I you know your place and then you excel in your place. And I like contributing to society even on a local level. I don't need federal or even any type of status on that. I like being a part of the cog or a cog in a wheel of the machine. I don't need to operate the machine. I know what my place is, and I like that. It isn't until my place is being redefined, is being criticized, is being threatened. Now we have a fucking problem, and that's my biggest issue. And then it's the other cogs who are like, "Oh, we just need to listen." It's like, no, you guys are fucking morons. I go back to talking about the fact that I started going to my village hall meetings. All of us bitch online about a federal level, but how many people actually go to their city or village hall meetings? I went for the first time. For the first time ever in the town that I live in. It's a town of 60,000 people. And I went and I sat, and there were 13 of us in the audience. 12 were all village employees, police chief, fire chief, people on the zone board who had to give reports for the mayor and the board and the trustees. I was the only resident, and I went, oh shit, dude. Well, this is how the problem is. But it's always been that way. I've always seen that when I was a cop and assigned to go to village hall meetings. Nobody was ever in the public comments or the public section.
How did you deal with it as a cop? I mean, I saw Star Chamber. There was two things that got me completely excited into politics and the law. One was Ollie North and the Iran-Contra hearings. And what's interesting is he's like my next door neighbor.
Like, get out of here. I remember that as a kid.
Yeah.
And Ashley, who used to be on the show with me, we used to talk about that all the time. It's like, it was a huge, he was vilified.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
And I watched that. I used to skip school, and my grandmother, who worked at the middle school, would take me up so I could watch the Ollie North. And then to live right next to him, it was like the honor of my life to go to breakfast with him and meet him. I'm sorry, I'm not name dropping. It's just cool, right? Second thing was the movie Star Chamber with Michael Douglas, where he's a judge. He's completely disenfranchised with a system. Kids who are being murdered are let go on technicalities and a search warrant that was bad, or some cop forgetting to Mirandize. And he just has it. He goes to his mentor and he goes, dude, I can't stand this. He's like, listen, kiddo, you've been doing this for 3 months. Wait till you've been doing this for 40 years like me. And he's like, how do you deal with it? And he's like, well, we have our ways. Anyway, long story short, he creates this Star Chamber where these 10 judges sit down and have secret courts, and they retry the case, and then they hire assassins to go out and kill these people if they're found guilty.
Holy shit, I've never seen that movie.
Go see that movie, dude. Star Chamber. So when I see this, I get really excited. How in the hell did you do this for as long as you did this? Almost 2 decades, right?
19 years. Yeah.
Okay, so almost 2 decades. How did you get past of just seeing these criminals, these scum of the earth? And I'm not talking about the little ones. I'm talking about the bad ones.
I was too focused on the shithead cops out there. And how bad policing is. Somebody just put up online the other day, I think it was like a BJJ cop on Instagram. It's got a couple 100,000 followers. And the post is, what's the biggest lie in law enforcement? And I mean, just the comment after comment after comment. The biggest lie is like, command staff has your back, or there is a blue brotherhood. It was the same shit among all these cops out there. Yeah, it blows me away. And I hate this topic because I talk about it all the time. It's 2024. It's 2024. Let me say that again. It's 2024. Every single citizen, I mean, it's safe to say 95% of people out there have cell phones, and they all have cameras. And we're still getting video recordings of cops who do not know what their job is. Cops who, forget the use of force shit, forget how horrible they are. Cops who have no idea how like the First Amendment auditors. Yeah, those guys are pretty fucking annoying, but they have every lawful right to do what they do, and cops have no idea how to handle it. So we have the shittiest people out in the street, and it sucks. That's why anyone's like, back to blue. I'm like, do you really not understand? The person that's going to pull you over, there's a very high probability that they can't even answer a basic question if they did pull you over, or they will write you a ticket based on your attitude. Well, that's good. They should violate your First Amendment right. Okay. So I was too busy focusing on the assholes that are on the street, and there's a ton of them. It's ridiculous.
So you're not a big back to blue person.
Not at all, because the blue, police have become domestic terrorists once COVID hit. Once they started enforcing mask mandates, 100%. I could not believe we had police officers that were going to village hall meetings, school board meetings, and were forcibly removing citizens. They turned into domestic terrorism. People on the beach going in California and removing them off the beach or the second, New York. Oh my God. How many videos of cops did we get from New York dragging people out of bars and shit? No, the second that happened, and they were, this is taking a different turn, but where I started to see it was where people would argue with me, cops would argue with me, and they would sit there. And I had one guy who was on my social media feed, and he commented, he goes, well, you're retired. You don't know what it's like to have to worry about feeding your family and paying your mortgage every month. And I said, did you just publicly comment that you're willing to violate somebody's constitutional rights to pay a paycheck? Delete, block. He just deleted and blocked me. If you really want to test how stupid cops are, I suggest everybody do this. If you have a public, your Facebook's a great one because you can get more comments for that, right? Mm-hmm. Or in your Instagram, put up a post that says, taking a survey on police officers. How many of you base your ticket writing, like issuing a citation, on the attitude and words of the driver? You have no idea how many cops will say, I do. I'm trying to correct their behavior. I'm trying to do this. It is astonishing how many fucking morons with badges we have out there who do not know that all it takes is it's going to take one person with a ticket to sit there and press the issue, sue the cop federally, and if they lose, that's 2 years in federal prison for violating somebody's constitutional rights. And they don't know that. Here's the deal. Okay. I didn't know this either, just to make this a little bit long-winded. It's okay. Because I went to a use of force instructor's class in 2014, and it was awesome. There was a fantastic instructor. There's 40 of us in the class, and he goes, how many of you, by show of hands, have ever used the phrase, shut your mouth or you're about to go in handcuffs? Every one of us, myself included. My arm was straighter than fucking doing a Hitler salute, right? And he goes, congratulations.
That's straight.
Because if you follow
it's a 45.
It could have been. If you followed that through, he goes, you violated their First Amendment right. And I thought about it. I never did it, but I use the threat all the time. So it just blows me away how stupid cops are.
What I love is that we can have shows that are microbursts, and then we can have shows that are essentially like syrup inside a wheelchair with a 3-toed sloth going uphill. So let's just do a quick one. How do you feel about the military? You support the military unequivocally?
Unequivocally, the concept, the same way that I support law enforcement unequivocally. But when I go to TikTok, right, and I watch these vets, and it's the same thing with law enforcement. You see these cops who are on Instagram showing their tits off and dancing and this and that stuff. Instagram and TikTok with these militaries who are drag queens or how the hell are they allowed? Is it the barracks? In their barracks, dressed in uniform, allowed to film social media content? I don't understand. So do I support them? Yes. Do I have faith in them? No.
So when I make a couple comments like support the troops, tie old yellow ribbon around the tree, support all veterans, that to you is a statement that does not resonate with you.
It's a wishful dream, dude. It's something that I wish.
I'm not advocating. I'm just asking.
No, no, because here's it sucks, right? Military's different, and I think I hold them to a higher standards because look what they do.
But that's because you didn't serve. And I feel the same way about cops because I didn't do protect and serve, right? So I feel the same way.
Without the military, I can't say whatever the hell I want. It's as simple as that.
That's fair.
Cops, I don't know. Cops, shit. You say the wrong thing, you're going handcuffs.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's a different conversation, but it's from the surface level, it's not. I agree. I think the mission of veterans is completely different, but the way you talk about police is very similar to how I talk about veterans. And I have the right to do that because I served. You have the right to do that because you served. I think there is nothing wrong with saying back to blue. I don't think there's nothing wrong with saying support all veterans. But if you think that moniker or that idiom somehow says that there are no bad cops or there are no bad veterans, that's the problem. I think when people go ahead and use it without actually admitting that there are some very shitty cops out there and there's also some very shitty veterans, this is the problem I have with those statements. Is that similar or is it different?
It is. It's similar. I do agree with that. I had a constitution test, and it's the standard, right? We have very, very poor standards of candidates out there. I went to the academy for 3 months, and I was certified. My sister cuts hair. She went Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day for 11 months for a license. I truly think if we want to change law enforcement, you license your police officers, and then you make them get their own personal insurance.
Yes.
And it's going to be, you'd have a lot more investigating to do, because then you're going to have people sit there and file more claims of like use of force or whatever. You'd have to have an army of people who are doing evaluations to determine whether or not there was like a policy violation for their insurance to lap. But the second you get a cop that's like, man, I better think twice about my attitude on this call. Because you don't forget, for the most part, they're single man squads, drive around. Like Illinois is a great example. In the middle of winter, February, if I had a fight with the girl I'm dating that day and I'm on midnights, it's 2 a.m. February. It's 20 below outside, 30 below with the wind chill. It's horrible. And John Doe and Jane Doe get in a stupid drunken fight on the front fucking lawn, and I got to show up. You don't think I'm going to get out of that car, freeze my ass off? Because you don't sit in the car with the big bulky jacket. So now I'm getting out. I'm getting cold. And now I'm not going to take out my frustration on them. So it's a shitty job.
I think you have a human element to policing, and this is just as a civilian who I did Master at Arms for 9 months, and as a secondary, so I had enough drunken brawls and petty larceny and stupid shit like that, and people doing things they weren't supposed to do, but nothing to the extent of what you went through. I wasn't on patrol. I'm literally just monitoring a ship, but. The one thing I kind of learned is that the human element in policing is something that is not equated like it should be. It needs to be a focus where there needs to be separation from the job. And everything that I've heard from my uncle to friends, brother-in-law, everything else is that cops eat this stuff 24 hours, 7 days a week. Their shifts are way too long. Their involvement is too long. They do this with endless breaks. It's going to ruin your disposition that human beings are decent and fair. Imagine the shit you guys had to take care of, It does. Yeah,
I dated somebody 10 years ago who her schedule, she was a cop, and the relationship ended because she was just a cunt. She worked every 28 days. Every 28 days they would rotate either 7 to 3, 3 to 11, or 11 to 7. And their union never fought it. And their days off were based off bidding seniority. So she'd work, 3 or 13 days in a row, then get 1 day off. Then another 5 days in a row, then maybe 2 days off. Then the rest of the month, then you got to switch your sleep schedule up. It does. It sucks. I mean, it's a shit job. I think an easy solution for it is, and I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. I thought for if I was emperor of the world, I would take like a Facebook, and I would have a Anytown USA Police Department page, and I would stream body cameras 24/7. And but then you get the argument, people like, and we get rid of every argument, not the whole, well, you got to blur out the faces of the children. No, fuck that. We're talking about solving this problem. I would say this is your lineup for tonight, right? It's Monday, March 4th, 2024. On the street tonight is Officer Izzo, and you get a bio of me, Officer Spear, bio of him, officer whatever, and then you get our body cameras streaming 24/7, so you could watch it in live. So that, but then you got the human element. We got back in my car, like if I dealt with Jane Doe on the street and I walk back in my car, shut the door, and it's me time. Man, that fucking bitch. It's like, I'm allowed to get my frustration out because you just went through the interaction with me. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. And I honestly think that would solve a lot of problems on both ends. And then you'd get these people saying, oh, yeah, the public is they are kind of shitty. And then you'd see stupid cops. Yeah. You'd see stupid cops.
But you know what the media would do? They would cut it and splice it to their narrative, and all cops are bad. And I look at it this way. I think there's a healthy level of a whole bunch of comments that can practically apply to policing that are correct. And I think it's a multifaceted problem. It's not a singular fix, but it comes down to, it would be nice that we would extensively train officers in 3 things. One is conflict resolution. 2 is firearm safety and effective choices on how to use it. And 3 is introduce the chokehold back to it so they actually stand a fighting chance.
100% that the rear naked choke would end 99% of all fucking use of force issues instantly.
Yeah.
Firearms, we went twice a year. don't ever ask me to get into a gunfight. I'd be like, I'd throw my pistol at him. That's how horrible I was. And then I said, if you really want to solve law enforcement, every single cop on the planet spends a year in the jail first as a correction officer.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Wow. That's a good one.
You're going to learn how to use your mouth.
Yeah.
You're outnumbered sometimes 100 to 1 with no fucking weapons, man.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, we just solved the problem, man. I mean, we should run for office. You've got the look. I don't. Yeah.
I did. I ran for Cook County Sheriff
and
in
win.
Chicago.
And win.
No, they won't. They'll never let that happen.
Yeah. Well, you're the wrong, your hairstyle's wrong.
It is true. Let's take a turn here because it's Monday. You had said before the show, I said, let's talk about some stuff. And Nikki Haley, something you brought up, and or I brought up, you said, all right, he's going to have to, meaning Trump's going to have to get used to aligning with her. And you said you wanted to talk about an unpopular opinion on that. What direction you want to go with her, where she just won D.C., I guess with like 1,300 votes and people
2,500.
Like, so why do we need Nikki Haley in order to secure a Trump win?
I just wrote an article about this, and here's a plug: news.thedumshow.com. It's a satirical article because everyone knows that like 3 years ago I said Nikki Haley would be in the final three. It'd be Donald Trump, DeSantis, and Haley. And one of them are going to have to pick her as VP. And the reason why is because it's the same thing they did with Mike Pence. Donald Trump lost the religious zealot vote, not the normal everyday Christian who goes to church once a month or whatever, or takes a knee once in a while and says the Lord's Prayer. But he lost the zealots, the people who are like emphatically like you stone your mother because of crops planting side by side, or you touch the skin of an undead thing, those type of people. And not that there's anything wrong with those people. I'm just letting you know he lost those people because the church said we're not going to support him. So they brought in Mike Pence because he brings that religious center back to the fold. And the reason why is because that's why you pick a VP. So my argument was 3 years ago that they're going to need a woman because they're going to go ahead and always be behind the Democrats. So for Kamala Harris, they're going to have to pick a woman because conservatives need to be seen as more than a white sale at Kmart, because unfortunately that's the truth. We're getting more and more African Americans and all that. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I want qualified people, but I will tell you I certainly like Byron Daniels and others who are in our party now. I love Ben Carson. I think it's great to have diversity, but it better be qualified diversity. With Nikki Haley, you get qualified diversity. People just don't like her because the same reason as DeSantis, Trump said not to. Now, if Trump came out tomorrow and he has his gold shoes on and he has his, Trump sunglasses and his NFT trading cards, and he goes, listen, Nikki Haley has decided to bow out. She's got an average 27% of the vote. Yes, some of those are Democrats, but a lot of those are independents. A lot of them are unregistered. A lot of them are libertarians. And that is a huge pickup for me, considering the last election was decided by 90,000 votes in 3 states. I'm going to pick her up because she gives me that middle-class housewife who is disenfranchised with me. It brings back college-educated men towards me. It gives me that middle-of-the-country vote, even though she's a neocon, and you won't say that. I'm going to bring her in because it'll make the establishment more comfortable with backing me up. Same thing with Pence. If he did that and picked up her arm and held her up and was like, yeah, Nikki Haley and Donald Trump, every single Trump person would bitch for 72 hours, and then they would be right back supporting him and telling all of us why Nikki Haley, this was a master 4D chess move by Trump, as he called her bird brain. So give me a break, right? You all shut up. What she does is bring you an element of the country that no other candidate mentioned can. He's going to have to stick her in the cabinet. He's going to have to get her to stand up at the RNC and say, with a full-throated backing, I back up Trump. Why? Because she's doing better than Ted Cruz did in 2016, and that was almost a contested election. If she continues to get anywhere from 15 to 22, 23% of the electorate and gets these delegates, it's going to be a really hard thing at that convention if she decides to stand pat and stay in this race. So my point is, Trump's going to have to do something. He's going to have to give it to her as VP, or he's going to have to give her a big cabinet position. People better get used to it. She's not going anywhere. That's it.
How many Americans you think are like me, though, we focus on our lives and we don't pay attention to politics too much, and then we look at somebody and hear them see them, and then decide on their value of president based on them.
Everyone loved her. Everyone loved DeSantis. Everyone loves. If Kristi Noem came out and said, you know what, that's it, I'm running against Trump, everybody would hate her. If Stefanik did it, everyone would hate her. Real quick, in my chat, Frederick Baldwin says, I agree, Matt. Nikki finally won a state. D.C. is not a state.
Right. District of Columbia.
It's a district. It's not a state. She hasn't won anything yet.
She taps into my my misogynist side where I'm like, she's just a woman, doesn't know how to shut up.
You hate her. You hate her.
Here's why I hate her. It's like she pisses me off. And I represent the typical American who it's a personality conflict. I don't like you just because. It had nothing to do with him. I didn't like what Trump did to DeSantis. I stepped away from the DeSantis Trump shit because how the hell could the MAGA people be attacking the DeSantis who was supposed to be the second coming after Trump? And then I watched what they did to each other. And then the second that whole thing where DeSantis dropped out, it was like, okay, we're all good now. I could not fathom that. I could not fathom being in a position to where if my political opponent shit on me, my wife, all this stuff, and then afterwards we kiss and make up. I'm like, no, dude.
That's what happens.
No, I don't play this game. So Nikki Haley's another one. That would almost make me not support Trump too, because if he's going to attack Haley, and then give her a cabinet position, what the fuck are you talking about?
He does that with everybody.
I can't stand that shit. And that's why
he did it with Vivek.
I have not made a decision if I'm going to vote yet this year.
Well, yeah, but you know who you're going to vote for if you do. You can't sit here and tell me that.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know. Well, why should I? I'm in Chicago. My vote doesn't count.
Okay. All right, dude. Don't make me. I like you. I like you. I think this is a man like bonding thing. Like showers in the wee hours of the morning might happen, but
bearskin rug and a couple of cigars, listening to a Johnny Mathis record in front of a fire.
Who needs music? So here's the thing: is your vote does count, and that's a ridiculous statement. It may not count in the national and electoral college, but it certainly counts down ticket. And whether you think that one vote doesn't matter or not, I disagree with you, because here's why: it's your civic duty. And I it's just a litmus test whether you're still engaged and whether this whole process that we call this republic is still around. And I would never relinquish my vote, and you shouldn't either.
Here's where I'm going to challenge you.
All right.
This is a question. This is one of the reasons I never
12
voted.
inches. 12 inches.
Oh, I'm 5'7". I'm if I use the pump, I get to 6.5. And I strongly suggest you men over 40 use it. And that's not. I should totally get one of them as a sponsor for the fucking show. Holy crap! I never voted until Trump, and the reason why is my view is I'm uneducated on politics, so I don't want my vote to be cast towards the wrong person because of my perception. Chicago, the last two mayoral elections, it's a fucking joke. 2.7 million people live in this city. Now, granted, that's not including the illegals and all that. 2.7 that they've got through the census, right? A total of 600,000 voted in the last mayoral election. He and then Lightfoot, they both won with like 336,000 people.
Yep.
So you're not getting people to come out to vote. Now, could you imagine if, I don't know, the other 2/3 of that populace came out and they're like, I don't know, but she's black and she's a lesbian, I'm voting for her. And you got 1 million people who are just uneducated and vote for her, and the city burns to shit. That's kind of like my question. Do you really want to encourage people to vote because it's their civic duty who just aren't educated?
Yeah. And I'll tell you what.
Is there a caveat saying get educated?
Is that the question? Yeah, I'm going to answer it. Yes, I do. And I'll tell you why. Because at the very least, you counteract another stupid person's vote. That's why.
Okay.
And I need you there to ensure that the idiot who isn't informed is well represented and stricken from the record, because you're an idiot and you cancel each other out. So yes, I need that. The second thing I need is, if I ask you this question, I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Tomorrow, the U.S. government comes up to you and says, Izzo, you can't fucking vote ever again. What are you going to do?
You're taking away my option No, I don't like absolutes on that.
No, it is an absolute because it's not like it hasn't been done across the world, across the country. It's happening in governments right now. It's happening in South Africa. They just legalized abortion, first ever that they codified it into a actual natural right in France just now. So they have taken away the rights of somebody to have life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in what's considered a democratic sovereign state. You're kidding me. It's going to happen. And even if it's not that extreme, the question is a hypothetical, which is based in reality. If they tried to take away your vote, you would die fighting them. I know you would. Okay, well then don't tell me it's not important.
No, it is important for educated, but I'm not educated. That's my problem, is I don't want to contribute on the wrong. I support it. Didn't vote for him. Dude, I supported Barack Obama. I was like watching the inauguration 2008 going, this is the greatest guy in the world. And then 2013, I'm going, who the fuck, this clown?
Were you dating a black girl at the time?
No,
okay.
My God.
I was for
Diamond
sure you
Jackson
would.
Diamond Jackson wouldn't return my
I
phone
was
call.
for sure you would be. So who gives a shit? You voted for Obama. There was nothing wrong. A lot of people were duped into the hope plea. A lot of people liked him. I liked him. But that's not what this is about. It's really hard for me to sit here and say, I don't have a gun and I don't protect my family because I don't know how to shoot. Well, then you're an idiot. Get out there and learn. It's not like I'm asking you to go ahead and get a degree in theoretical physics or chaos math, Dom. You are educated, you are in the loop, and you're a person with a voice who influences others. And to hear a Republican, conservative, or down the middle, let me lecture you just for one more second, is for an intellectual like yourself who is a conservative voice, whether you like it or not. You're not a fucking liberal, even though you might have some liberal views. The point is that you are encouraging people not to vote, and I think that is antithetical to what we want to try to solve.
I'll support you on that. That closing of your argument, I align with you on. I don't want to influence people to vote for the candidate I choose. That's something I don't ever want to do.
Good.
If I support Trump, great. I'll give you my views. I'm hoping not to have people go, yeah, because there's no sense support Trump. I'm going to. What you just said is enough for me to change my tone, because I know what I do not want to do is discourage others from voting.
There you go.
That is something. And now that you just won me over on that argument based on the flip side of that coin.
I'm taking my ring off. I'm taking it off right now, and I'm single.
Okay.
I'm single. I'm here for you, buddy. Anytime you're ready, let me know. Gay marriage.
If we go that route, I'm sorry, dude. I'm topping. Simple as that.
We can rotate.
Fuck no. All right, we have to play listener voicemail every now and then. Like I said, there is a rant line for the show. If you have an opinion, something you want to throw in, you disagree, you agree, you love it, you want nudes of me, I don't care. 708-982-0974 is the show. You could leave a voice note, you could leave a voice mail, you can leave a text message. We'll play it on air. I don't know what this is. It's the first time I'm hearing it. Let's check it out together.
Hi, Dominic. Happy Friday. I have a question for you. I
wish to God this broad would leave her number so I can sext her.
Can you black out my screen for a second and turn it up? Just give me 5 seconds. That's all I need.
What do you need?
Black out. I just want you to play her voice again and black out my screen.
She won't leave her number. She won't leave her number. And it fucking sucks. Yeah, right.
Ignore that sound.
You've touched on girls that do OnlyFans, like OnlyFans accounts. I know you said you don't like it when they put a scripture next to their OnlyFans link. But what do you feel about girls that do OnlyFans for money? Is that frowned upon the Dominick Izzo? Do you not like that? I just want your opinion. See what your thoughts are on it.
That's it?
Wow.
I know you're not a first-time listener. I wish you would leave your send a text message and let me know who it is and all that kind of stuff. You clearly have never heard the show before. I come heavily from the before it was an upside-down pineapple. I come heavily from that lifestyle. I spent many, many, many years in it. And no, I do not. I've dated strippers. If I was with somebody who did an OnlyFans, I would be very, very supportive. I don't give a shit as long as everything is consensual. I'm not one of those people who's like, it's so immoral and it's unethical. No, what's immoral and unethical is denying that we are all sick perverts who act one way in public and then another in private. I just don't care. I think the only problem I have with that concept is how social media has glorified sexual behavior way too loosely, meaning you see these girls who are 18, 19, 20, and they're on their TikTok and Instagram doing these shorts, you know, kind of like with the words that come up in the caption bubbles. Like he said, you know, he asked me if I could bring home a friend tonight. So he brought home 3 and I was airtight. And it's like, you really want to joke about that when you're 19 and you have no idea what that is going to do to damage your perception of a relationship. So if I had this emperor staff of power, I would exclude all real solid, perverse, kink, taboo sexual activity and reserve it for well-established consenting adults who have had time enough to mature and understand what their own issues are before their father left. I guess I would limit it that.
Wow. It's well, okay, here's my take. You're selling yourself for something, and if you think you're not, then you're so sold that there's no hope for you. Because I don't care if you're an account executive, I don't care if you're, you know, slinging slop at Chick-fil-A, whether you're an Uber, whether you're a prostitute, whether you're a corporate executive. I've done many roles. I've dug plenty of ditches. I've fuel burned JP5 and heaping mounds of shit. I've done every job that you can pretty much think of, and I'll tell you is that you're selling yourself no matter what you do. Now, is it morally and ethically wrong? I'm not going to judge anybody on that. That's not my business. But in today's world, where you either have a skill set or you essentially do nothing in life, and there are plenty of people. I mean, you can take a look at the national average when it comes to impoverished people. If you don't have a skill set, you're not going to do anything well in life unless you challenge yourself and develop. Is this an opportunity for some people to get through college? Is this an opportunity to put food on the table? Yes. And do I have a problem with it? No. I am graced with a beautiful wife, and I don't need to go search for that type of stuff. But there was a time when I obviously did, and somebody has to provide that content. I think there should be a lot stiffer regulations. I think the drugs that are involved in it, I think the amount of harm that can come to somebody from online bullying and the brutality that's in this field is dangerous. Just for the lady that said that she wasn't going to sleep with transgender men or a man who has had sex with another man, and she wound up killing herself from people just completely bombarding her. Dave Chappelle's good friend who was transgender committed suicide. I think we need to have a conversation that, you know, people are going to do things that you don't agree with, but before you start castigating your personal opinion on people, maybe, just maybe, you should reflect on yourself and look at your own inequities before you start judging others. That's my opinion.
Oh, look at you reflecting into that old good book shit, because that's where Christian nationalists are now, where it's all about
right. with the vertical salute, right?
Yeah, we're gonna rebuke everybody without doing the whole forgiveness shit. I like stirring the pot, clearly, for anybody who sees me on social media. And I have to find this Instagram post I put up the other day, which of course it got a lot of it got hate. It's just what I do. It was on I get these random kind of like porn, not porn brain, but like things that pop into my head, politics, porn, whatever it is, and I have to comment about it. I post it up. I'd rather warp my brain to the fakeness of porn than destroy myself in a loveless, sexless relationship. Hilarious how those of you, and it's always the women. I'm sorry, ladies. I think it's mostly women who are, porn isn't real. Porn rots your brain. So does McDonald's, so does cigarettes, so does everything else. Hilarious how those of you demonizing men for consuming pornography never want to seem to shine the same light on women who leverage and withhold sex as a weapon. Yeah. I'm not married, and I can't tell you how many friends of mine we have sex probably once in a month. I got a blowjob on my birthday.
Wait, how long? Wait, stop. How long did they? Once a month? The amount of couples I know who they reach that, what is it? Complacency kills. Oh my God, dude, no.
Is theory.
My wife came home for lunch an hour and a half ago, and that's why I didn't get on till 12:46.
There you go. How old is she?
Oh shit, 44 in one day.
So it's just, yeah, that's.
But she's
that's
smoking hot, like smoking hot is like, you know, she looks like she's 26 and she's gorgeous. She looks like Sandra Bullock. A beautiful woman, beautiful woman. And guys say that, right? They say that, but all my listeners will tell you, she's on the show. She's beautiful. She's a great woman. But it's funny because we went with like maybe 4 or 5 days. Got in a wicked fight last week. And I'm like, why are we fighting? And she goes, oh my God, we haven't had sex. And I'm telling you, it is an essential part of marriage. And if you can't find that, because that forces some sort of intimacy, unless you're just a complete, just horrible human being. And I believe that if you're searching for it on a digital screen, looking at pixels, that you're missing a connection with somebody, that it can't be a substitute. So here's my adage to what I said. If you're going to do porn 24 hours, 7 days a week, and that's your thing, great. Who cares? That's your life. Live it the way you want.
Good caveat. Good caveat.
Here's the amendment to the rule is you better have another outlet for human connection. Because if you don't, I do believe you're going to be left wanting as a human being. That's my personal opinion.
I'm at the point where up to a certain point, pornography was satisfying because you got that 15 seconds of and then the rest of the day was like, oh my, you got the post nut clarity out of the way, go do your job. There's no human interaction, which was, I'm an introvert. You know, I loved the lockdowns. I was fine with that. And you didn't have to do the whole, what are you thinking about? Shut up.
Right. But that's different. That's different.
Stop. Fucking, I'm almost 50. Shut up. Now, me in my 20s, maybe 30s. Okay. Early 40s. Sure.
Who do you go to who do you go to? Yeah, I mean, come on. You know what I'm talking about. You got that thing that's in your throat.
No. So I literally was, I used to have close friends who you bitch to your problems about. Everybody went their separate directions. The lockdowns really did a number on relationships.
Yeah.
No, I do not have that person I've known for like 20 or 30 years that I've like, dude, I gotta tell you about this. I just don't. And no, I don't talk to my father about my problems. I don't talk about siblings of mine. I don't. I literally clam them up and process them. I'm sure they escape through cortisol and every other stress possible out there.
Sure.
I went to this is how, as a man, I've been conditioned. A few years ago, I went to a men's Bible group, and I love how people are going to listen going, you're advocating porn and swinging, but you go to a Bible? Really? Go to your local church.
You're a sinner.
Yeah, go to your local church and listen to the fucking hypocrites there.
Right.
But as we're there, it was a bunch of real big men, like manly men, and I cringed when in the group, one of the guys like, yeah, I had to join a men's group because, you know, you can't tell your wife about certain things, and I got to talk to my brothers in Christ about certain things. And I cringed because I can't explain it. The thought about being vulnerable with another human being or a male or a brother and telling him about my problems, it's got conditioned in me where it's like, fuck, nobody wants to hear about your problems, dude. Go to work. Go do what you got to do. It's been so beaten over the years that I just don't do that anymore. And I do not know how. I don't know how to open up and be like, I just want to be vulnerable with you guys. Because I don't. And I think I get mini panic attacks thinking about doing it. So I compartmentalize everything, process it, and it's stored in a shelf somewhere.
I got to say, to be transparent with you, I look forward to my Mondays now. And Mondays used to be a drudgery. I get the weekend and I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to do another show, got to do another article, you know. And I look forward to it. And I was telling my wife last night, I said, I really look forward to having a conversation with this. I'm going to let you in a little secret. You just did it.
What?
You just opened up. You just shared something.
That's ranting. That's different.
No. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it anything you want. I
do that every day then.
No, a little bit different. This topic was about you. This wasn't about Nikki Haley. This wasn't about some porn star. This wasn't about the Second Amendment or the Constitution. This is about you. You said, I have a problem communicating with men.
That.
It doesn't.
Then I used to open up with Ashley all the time. Then when Ashley was on the show, that was all we did. So,
okay, that's what it's like. That's a good. Listen, I'm going to give you a little certificate, put a gold star by your name. I'm very proud of you, and that's sharing. And I would like to see more of that from you, please.
Touching yourself over it.
Well, that was some weird shit.
Yeah,
it's not wrong.
Well, never said it was wrong. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
I was gonna ask you for a movie reference earlier when you were talking about Well, you being on a ship and everything in the military. Did you ever want to go, turn your key, sir?
Oh no! You know what? No, I don't think I ever. No.
You got that reference?
No,
right?
hold on a second. I know it, and it's on the tip of my tongue. Say it again.
Turn your key, sir.
Oh yeah, War Games. Right? Yeah. So first edition.
I love having a guy who's my age on for pop culture.
Yeah, 38 snub nose right into the back. Turn your key. Put your hand on the key,
You know that
sir.
was, right?
Yeah, I know who it was. Absolutely.
Michael Madsen.
Yeah, from Kill Bill. And the other guy was the chief of staff in West Wing. Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yep.
Yeah, dude, movies. I mean, you're telling me.
Dabney Coleman was in that movie.
Dabney Coleman was in that movie. That's correct. The guy from, I love his, I'd piss on a spark plug if it'd do any good.
That would do any good. Yeah, he was, God, he was in a bunch of movies. He was in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
He was in, when the one ranch hand went to the 4-H or whatever it was.
Yeah, he was in the movie The Ranch, the 4-6s. He was the old guy in the 4-6s. He was also in The Ranch with Ashton Kutcher, which actually was fantastic if you haven't watched it. It even has a clap track and everything. It's fantastic. Have you, and then Ali Sheedy, she was smoking banger, huh?
Oh my God, yeah. The pterodactyl. He had a drone pterodactyl.
Yeah, Stephen Falking. Stephen Falking. Hello, Joshua. Would you like to play a nice game of chess? Let's play Global Thermonuclear War.
You remember the computer's name?
Dude, you know what's hilarious? There's a story you don't know about this, and we've got time. This is 45 seconds. So I don't know if you know this, but the director, you know how the White House, Reagan did this, Carter did this, and I even think Ford did, but they had movie night. And it used to be a thing in the White House, is they would go in and they would go into the White House theater, they would get popcorn. Jelly beans were Ronald Reagan's favorite, so he would get jelly beans and hand them out. And then the staffers and admin, chief of staff, joint chiefs, whoever was available would go in and watch a movie night. Well, the director of War Games was about to release the flick. Now, they allowed them to shoot outside of NORAD. I've actually been to Cheyenne Mountain. I was stationed there.
Wow.
I was stationed in Cheyenne. Yep, I did intel. I got called. They launched Scuds into Kuwait when I was literally stepping off of a 19-hour flight, was immediately taken, met at the airport, I did intel, went to NORAD, did a 12-hour stint, and I was back on a flight to the Middle East. So needless to say, I wasn't very happy. But I digress. To get to the point, Nancy Reagan was talking to the director of War Games. She said, well, you should show the movie. It sounds very interesting. I know Ronnie would love it. So they got together, and Ron and Nancy and, I'm going to watch the movie War Games. And he sat down and started to watch the movie. And about 30 minutes in, you could just hear the proverbial nut crack as he's like, holy shit. Got the chief of staff, the joint chiefs, and they literally went in the situation room, and he's like, I just watched this movie. I want to know the probability. You guys got 24 hours. I want a full briefing. And our cybersecurity and electronic countermeasures was born. And a lot of our programs and a lot of our processes
because of Whopper
was because of that.
Yeah, Whopper and Joshua.
Yeah, buddy.
Computer games, tic-tac-toe. That's your Monday show, kids. I don't know what else to tell you. Hope you enjoyed it. We did. Go vote when it comes time then.
Yes.
Make sure you check out the DUM Show. Matt, when can they watch that?
It's 7 o'clock weeknights. Then we have a recorded show. Go to thedumshow.com for everything. You can find it there.
We'll be back tomorrow for another episode of the Rants of Izzo Show here on Spreely.com. Go to Spreely.com. Start using our social media.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.